Hey guys, welcome back to the Motion Raceworks YouTube channel. Today I'm excited to do this video. It is showcasing a product we've been working on for quite some time. It's an extension of a product line that you guys all love already. And I want to show just the benefits and then how to install our new active two-stage catch can. We're going to use a really representative application here, which is my 72 Nova that we call Bubba's Nova. It is an LSA swapped 72 Nova, and it was one of the recipients of some of our first billet catch cans, which are more of a race style. And by that I mean both valve covers go in, and it just has an open element on top with some baffling inside. This car is a driver, as you can see. And like this year I took it on Good Guys Road Tour. We put 1,600 miles on it. So I wanted to show you guys, you know, if you already have a catch can and you want to take it to the next step of kind of more of a really high-end driver quality, you can swap to this new active two-stage catch can and gain some of the benefits of it. Now this one in particular, I put probably 10,000 miles on this car, and I've really noticed none of the complaints, but every combination of engine and build, as well as several other elements that might lead you to putting a sealed style catch can, as I call it, on this thing. Now, if you're not familiar with different styles of catch cans, there's a couple. One is the open style element race catch can, like I said before. You're basically taking the pressure from your valve cover / crankcase, and hopefully if you have good baffling in your valve covers, you're letting that pressure exit into your catch can and through a filter. It goes through a series of baffles, which knocks the oil out of the air. Some cans have those, some don't. Typically, a can with good baffling like ours will do a really good job on most applications of knocking the oil out. The only downfall is you either may have smell under normal driving because it's always breathing out of your crankcase, and that particulate only gets so small. So if you're driving your vehicle a lot and you get a little bit of an odor, some engines are more susceptible to this, like for instance the Coyote engines, some engines with looser tolerances, just a whole variety of factors. Like I said, depending on your baffling and where you're picking stuff up, all that. And also just how much crankcase ventilation is occurring through the catch can. The second option is our active two-stage catch can. Now there's a few others on the market. This is our take on it. The basic gist of this catch can is under normal driving, there is a complex series of baffling, way more advanced than what we have, but also there is a sealed system to it. There's a valve that under normal driving, when vacuum is present, this catch can is part of a system that drives the crankcase pressure out of the engine and into the catch can. But under normal driving, it is not going to exhaust out the filter. It's going to stay inside there and act as more of an oil separator. So the air comes in, knocks down, and then now under spirited driving, like this thing often sees, what that'll do is that valve will then open and function as a normal catch can, meaning there's a valve that will open that will allow air out of the catch can vent. There's a check ball inside of the vacuum line, which I'll show you, and that closes the intake off, and that closes the vacuum for the intake off because now you have a leak in the system, and everything acts as a race catch can. So you get the best of both worlds with this style catch can, and it's a perfect setup for a driver like this. Like I said, this car didn't particularly have any concerns to me. I didn't really smell it, never really bothered me, but I thought it would be a good representation. A lot of people have catch cans. If it is bothering you, I'll show you how to convert what you have to what we have to offer now, using the parts we have on our website as well as some of the new stuff we developed. All right, so if you're not familiar with or don't remember the build series on this, this is, you know, your stereotypical LS swap. This, of course, is an LSA with a supercharger, so PCV concerns, in my opinion, are amplified. That's probably more than just my opinion. That's just the reality of it. So, like I said, when we started building this thing, we went just with our simple catch can. So there's a line coming off the back of this valve cover, and there's a line coming off of this valve cover, and they both go into the catch can. You can see I already loosened those lines. It's mounted over here. So technically the air just comes in to the catch can, goes through a baffling system, and then out of the filter. Now, a PCV system needs adequate baffling, you know, in the beginning to work properly. So if what you're pulling from is not baffled, and it's just a straight open fitting that may or may not have direct line of sight to oil, there's a good chance all catch cans are really going to be a difficult thing for you. So some of the cheaper valve covers on the market don't have baffling. Of course, factory ones have baffling, but typically the fittings are very small. The Motion ones have a complex baffling system in them that flows a lot, but keeps oil out. We even have a bolt-on breather that goes on any valve cover that has a baffling system. Those surprisingly work extremely well. So if you find yourself having some race style valve covers without baffling and you want to use them with something like this, or you're just not happy with how much oil is making it to the catch can, these things are highly effective. And honestly, they're just as good or better than even our billet valve covers. So a lot of people have fabricated covers or just some real simple covers. You can add those pretty easily, even on the factory covers. All right, so let's get this thing installed. We're gonna start by, I guess, just taking the lines off of the one we have and replumbing. The only line that we're going to probably reuse is going to be this one. So I'll actually probably, you can see I already started loosening these up. This valve cover is going to go on a new can to the back, so we can reuse that. You could technically probably reuse this line for the fresh air if you wanted to, but we may or may not use that depending if the fitting is going to be right. So get those lines off and unbolt the can. Okay, you can see the mount is on there still from before. The nice thing is we made all of this mount and clock the same. It was on purpose so that, you can see this thing got a little dirty over the years. We made it that way so that you could literally replace one with the other. Obviously some plumbing has to change, but the clock ability, as you can see, there's different hole mounting on top. Being able to rotate that gives you the ability to utilize the fitting, angularity, make things fit in tight spaces, and just kind of make the lines flow how you want. So that was something that was important to keep with this new one, and of course we did. All right, so I've got everything laid out here that we're gonna use, or I think we're gonna use, maybe an extra fitting or two. We have our active two-stage catch can. You can see it's pretty easy to note vacuum and crankcase. Now this catch can, I chose to go with the filter style. If you wanted just that factory style recirculation, we have this style top. This is our recirculating top. That would give you the ability to put the line for what would be the vent back into the intake. So we created the ability to use both because we thought it would be a good idea. Different vehicles, different applications, different needs might have different requests. So this is actually rotatable, and then there's a little clamp that bolts to one of these bolt holes, whichever works best. But we're not going to use this can. So it comes with a bracket and fittings. Of course, I already have this bracket mounted and everything, so I'm just going to put this in the bottom. I'm going to throw this up on the screen. We created this remote mount drain system. This remote mount drain is basically built for vehicles where you have no access to this drain fitting or petcock, if you will. This allows you to put it somewhere where you can easily access it. If you have a car that fills it up often, it's going to give you that next level of control. And it has a bulkhead, all the fittings and line you need, so it's just really simple to use and just an easy add-on. You can obviously put it on the active two-stage catch can or our other ones, or coolant transmission catch cans, anything you want just to make your life a little easier. Inside the catch can, we have diagrams to kind of show you how different platforms need to be plumbed. So this one kind of shows you on a naturally aspirated style engine. We're gonna have one valve cover go right to the filtered inlet air. Basically, you're creating a draw-through system with vacuum also. So that fitting is gonna go from your cold air intake into your engine. Of course, we also have a cold air intake on this blower deal. The crankcase is gonna go right into that fitting, and then your vacuum is gonna go right from the intake. So that's gonna create the whole system working as it should. We have a variety of these. This one's just a naturally aspirated LS, I guess you can say by the looks of it. But we also have Coyotes and forced induction and some generic ones. I'll put a link to this diagram down in the description below so you guys can access it. So along with this catch can, we built a lot of little specialty fittings. This fitting actually on a factory LS valve cover on the driver's side rear, this will plug right into the grommeted section of like the newer style LS3 valve covers. So if you needed to convert that to an AN for your application, we have that. We have a variety of different valve covers. We have billet bolt-on breathers. And then the other nice thing about this fitting, for the hose that's going to go from the cold air intake to the engine, we send you this grommet. So this fitting can be bought and used either on that LS section, or you can drill a hole and use it just as a grommeted AN adapter just in general. So a lot of options with all this, and that was one of the things we wanted to cover before we released it, is having options to plumb all this easily and have all the adapters you need. All right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is pop off this filter. I don't have the clamp on it right now. This portion here is supposed to be like this, so don't remove that. And then we'll just bolt it on the car. All right, so we got it mounted, and like I said, I just reused this line here in the back and then hooked it to the crankcase side of things. So now we'll run our vacuum line, and I'll put the filter back on here. So we got the vacuum line hooked up to here. You don't really need any clamps because the barbs on that and the barbs on this are not going to really allow it to pull off. And since it's vacuum, you should be good. I guess if you wanted to do it out of abundance of caution, you could. I routed it. You do, like I said, AN lines, rubber lines, whatever you want. This whole system can be either or both. And then we used our quick connect here. One thing you might want to consider on these quick connects of all styles, if they get torqued too much, they could potentially pop off because of the quick release mechanism in them. So make sure you attach it somewhere, and like even that's enough, it's fine. But if you like twist it all the way off, it has a potential to either break loose or break or whatever. So just abundance of caution. So now we will move to this side. The catch can's essentially done. I have the filter on it. So that part of the system is done, and now I just need to create the inlet for the draw through on the system, and we'll essentially be done with this install. It's a very quick and easy install. Obviously I reuse that line in the back. Most times you can reuse this line in the back. However, I had like 150 degree. So worst case scenario, you could cut the end off of it on that side and do a different end on it. Or you can make all new lines, it's up to you. But it is pretty easy to reuse your existing lines if you have our style catch can. I can't guarantee anybody else will be the same way. Okay, so down to the last few steps. We got this line ran. I'm just gonna probably zip tie it up here. You could potentially go drop down over to the frame rails and up to here. Might do that for just see how good it looks. I think I'm gonna opt to, instead of go up over the valve cover, which I think is a little unsightly, run it underneath the master cylinder, tie it up to these lines right here, and then discreetly hook it up under here. So I'll do that now. Yeah, that's way more discreet. So just gotta finish zip tying it up here, and then I'll get a position for this grommet to hook up to whatever style connection it is, and we'll be done. Sometimes going a long way just makes a lot better looking. I will note in this kit, typically 4 to 6 feet of that vacuum line will get it done. And then I almost always buy about 6 foot of the dash 10 or 8, 6, whatever you're gonna plumb it with, because usually that'll accomplish both lines on most catch can systems and maybe even leave you a little extra. You can tell here we're gonna have 2 or 3 feet of extra, but it's always better to have extra than not enough. All right, so I just took a hole saw, drilled it where I marked it, pushed this in, and now we have an AN connection. So we actually put a hex on here, so you can actually tighten it. Depending where you put it, it may be a little tricky, but you can always tighten it and then put it back together. So we're gonna put this thing back on and hook up our line. Just a quick reminder, wipe the inside of this out. Oftentimes when you drill this stuff, the inside of these can be oily or have a residue from either the filter, engine, or both. So definitely don't want shavings going through your engine. Another quick tip for this clean air line is once you get it measured and built, you need to go ahead and brake clean the heck out of it. I've said this in other videos that are standalone videos, but AN line, rubber line, all that stuff is very dirty. It's manufactured in a warehouse. It's then stored in a warehouse. It's then shipped to our warehouse where we have large spools of it. Even if it's in 20-foot rolls, just not sealed up well. And then you have it sitting around your garage, bugs crawl into it. I've seen that before. When you go to assemble it, you're potentially using an abrasive or something. And then when you screw it together, you create shavings and rubber shavings that then fall into it. All of this is a potential to go into your engine, or anything, transmission, fuel system, whatever. But you're gonna be using this as a draw line. So fresh air is gonna go through the filter, through this line, and then straight into your engine to create a system. So you definitely don't wanna be drawing in dirty lines on your first startup. And again, just a good habit. Anytime you're building fuel lines, transmission lines, oil lines, any of that stuff, clean them out first, just like you would clean valve train parts before putting on an engine. Manufacturing is a dirty process, and so is warehousing. All right, so that's pretty well it. Very straightforward and simple installation. I would say if you're doing this at home, whether you have, the hardest part is probably mounting a catch can. And if you already have the motion catch can, you probably accomplish this whole deal in 20, 30 minutes. Obviously doing a video takes a little longer because I got to explain things, but line routing, just like any other catch can, is a little bit probably the most taxing thing if you're really particular. But let's go ahead and start this thing up. And of course, like I said before, this car, I really didn't have a whole lot of complaint with the catch can. Maybe I was used to the smell, but to me, it wasn't really anything noticeable or an issue or anything like that. Some of the things that customers have noted now that this style catch can has been out for a little while is definitely lack of smell, like you would get from a race style catch can, whether it's ours or somebody else's. Obviously less oil in the intake if you've never had a catch can. Getting that to a point where you can have an oil separator is a huge deal, and is an absolute must for as many engines as possible. In addition to that, you're getting rid of crankcase pressure, which is just a very good thing for the longevity of your engine, the horsepower, all that stuff. Having the ability to go from, docile to race style when you're using this thing for its performance capabilities is a big deal. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get everything fired up, make sure all my lines are good, nothing's leaking, make sure we don't hear any vacuum leaks or anything of that nature. All right, just took it for a drive. Everything's good. Potentially less smell, but like I said, this engine package, this car is sealed up pretty well on a firewall. Never really had any experience of smell or anything like that. And more than anything, this video was just to show you guys how easy it is to go from one option to the next if you so choose. There's definitely applications where you got a lot of ventilation stink, and you might want something different or just a more daily driver style friendly setup. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have questions on fittings, plumbing, any of that stuff, definitely give us a call, 800-878-9274. I'll put that down below. We'd love to talk with you guys about your project. Our whole team enjoys maximizing how easy and how good a system can be. So don't be afraid to give us a call. We'll walk you through things and get you set up with the right setup, whether it's this or our race catch can. Our goal is to deliver you exactly what you're expecting and get you there with ease and all the parts you need the first time. If you have ideas for the next product spotlight, Tech Tip Tuesday, or anything like that, give us a shout down below in the comments. We'd love to hear from you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time.